Oh, no, look, if you're talking about bullshit, you come to the wrong convention here. We're talking about a bill that could dramatically change this country, and we have said in our coalition agreement that we will not vote for it when it's got certain conditions that are not met, and that's where we stand.
And our agriculture has gone from strength to strength without GE in New Zealand.
So I ask you, will we let unelected global entities dictate what we grow, what we eat, and how we live? Or will we stand together as kaitiaki, as protectors of our land, our people, and our children's future?
Take a seat and we'll...
Do you guys mind if I wait? It's okay? Oh, thank you.
Just keep food natural, don't start stuffing around with it.
Yeah. How far have you travelled from today, and what is one of your main concerns with the gene technology bill?
Travelled here from Hawke's Bay. The concern is that once this GE genie is let out of the bottle, and these it ends up out in the wild with the wild fruit and fauna out there, that it will affect the long-term viability of our food production and supply, which will affect future generations' ability to have access to their own food without corporate control of it.
So you're saying these things are irreversible?
Yeah, that's what we understand. They're irreversible. Once they're out once they let them go, they're out now. So we need to stop it now.
Really, one of the reasons that we're here is that the House Select Committee really did not provide a report that was representative of the submissions that New Zealanders made. If over 97% of people voiced opposition to the bill, that's not what I read reported in the health report. So unfortunately I thought it was pathetic, and some other people have worded it much nicer than that. But today we're here to say really thank you. We're here to say thank you to the members of Parliament who have chosen to voice their opposition to this proposed bill, because we know what we already have. So for me, it's a no thank you to the bill.
And the thing is to be really aware of this. This bill excludes regulation of many new genetically engineered organisms, bacteria, fungi, plants and animals. It's not just about farmers. It's not just about the medicine, it's about our whole country and the whole environment and our economy. Now remember, there's been no economic analysis of this bill, except by one independent body that looked at the costs to New Zealand of losing our clean, green, non-GMO, GE-free reputation and exports. Up to $20 billion a year lost asset. They are taking away regulation of organisms that will not be labelled unless good old Woolworths and good old PAMS and good old New World and Zespri and Fonterra label it voluntarily, because the government is saying you don't have to label it, you don't have to test it. The companies will be in charge of saying these products are safe because they've been assumed safe, completely unscientifically. Some of these organisms don't even exist and they're assumed safe. You've got to allow people the choice to say no. You've got to allow farmers to keep GM free. You've got to allow precaution. The precautionary principle is the guardian of nature and of human health, and they've removed it from this bill. There is no precautionary principle. The regulator needs a backstop. The regulator needs guardrails to say, look, this is very dangerous for nature, or this is very dangerous for humanity, and I'm not going to approve this product. They haven't got that power. That power has been taken away. But the animals in line for extreme use in genetic engineering experiments, as we've already seen, will continue and expand unless we stop it. We've got to have control in New Zealand, not approve products from overseas and they've been rubber stamped there, you're going to have them here. We've got to have sovereignty, we've got to protect New Zealand's unique identity, we've got to protect brand New Zealand.
And I'm so thankful I see so many citizens here that are concerned today what is happening in New Zealand. this misguided belief in concentration of power among a few individuals, prioritizing corporate interests over the well-being of our citizens, our economy, our environment, animal health and stability of ecosystem. This bill is coming from a political ideology, represent the idea that greed is virtuous. Where are the people in New Zealand that stood up against the nuclear-free New Zealand? Where are they today? Because the media doesn't cover it and it aren't very woke. Just that's why we forget about it. We follow a neo-liberal future in this. We must stand against this. Please keep on lobbying. Thank you for listening to me today. I always was against it, and I will speak against it again.
So look, what we've really got to understand is that when things are edited into a organism, when it's actually edited into an organism, it's actually made here and then it's transferred into that organism. And that's with like a gene gun, or it's transferred like basically like a virus. And so that plant or that animal is always, its immune system is fighting what has been done to it. So we know that they've finally started to understand that you can't gene edit an animal, and they've given that up. And what we really want would be a great outcome of this bill is to not just vote it down, but to ultimately say we can't edit plants either, because the plant is fighting so hard, and the things that happen, at the end of the day, nothing has worked, and the plant dies, the plant's very sick, and with everything that it's supposed to do, it doesn't do. But we have all these things that they want to do naturally. We've got all those options, and from nature we can take everything that we want, and that's what a regenerative farm is all about, that's what an organic farmer is about. And I think the thing that's missing here today, that it's just a shout out to all farmers. All farmers, we are GE free, we need to stay that way.
NZDSOS, of course, opposes this bill with every fibre that we can muster. When the first completely untested, and I use those words deliberately, completely untested gene product was forced into many unwilling people. Make no mistake, these gene jabs were exactly the products that this tech bill proposes to usher in more of, with no local scrutiny and on the say of overseas regulators. No doubt this will end up being the WHO, as it seeks to become the last word on everything health related, including the regulation of doctors and the rights of human beings to move and speak freely and maintain control of what goes into their bodies. In the last 5 years, we've seen existing legislation and safeguards ignored and dismantled, to the result of the death and the disability of many thousands at the hands of the last government, with this Parliament still in complete denial. And now the current government wants to usher in the most dangerous gene tech regime on the planet, possibly with the exception of Australia. But to us, it's the overarching clawed fist of the WHO and other unelected private interest groups behind all of these anti-human moves and legislation, like imposing digital ID, central bank digital currencies, gender ideology, climate engineering, and the whole zero carbon debacle. But already many millions of dollars are already invested in mRNA production here in this country. So we must make these products and the companies subject to much tighter regulations, not much laxer ones, by removing existing protections. This bill is so bad and dangerous, it's not even worth dissecting to try and find any good bits. And we demand the government listens and abandons attempts to sell our biome to the highest bidder wreck it in the process. Thank you very much.
So I'm just going to ask Sue Kedgley to come to the mic.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Sue Kedgley aho, and thank you so much to GE Free for organising this event today. Thank you all for turning out here. Thank you to those political parties, the Green Party, the Labour Party, particularly to New Zealand First for standing up within that coalition, and to Party Māori. Thank you for standing up against yet another attempt to fast-track GE in New Zealand. And I have an incredible sense of déjà vu, standing here in Parliament in a protest against yet another, as I say, attempt to fast-track GE, because for 25 years ago, there was an enormous campaign, which I'm sure many of you joined in or participated in, to stop the attempt to fast-track GE then. And had we not stopped it, we would have genetically engineered ryegrass growing all over New Zealand and contaminating our clean green land. But anyway, one thing that looking back 25 years gives us the opportunity to run through some of the predictions and the arguments the pro-GE, the proponents raised or argued in favour of GE. They predicted, they said, if New Zealand doesn't embrace genetic engineering, our agriculture will become globally uncompetitive, we will be left behind, we will go backwards, we will become an agricultural backwater and lose our market share. Did that happen? No. Over the past 25, in fact, it's been exactly the opposite. It's been a huge competitive advantage for our farmers. They have been able to target the high-value, GE-free organic markets around the world, and our agriculture has gone from strength to strength without GE in New Zealand. Then they told us, then they said, well, GE, they said these miraculous things were going to happen if we only would embrace GE. It was going to solve world hunger. It was going to produce drought and weed-resistant plants. It was going to produce higher crop yields, reduce pesticide use. And do you remember that GE rice that was going to solve blindness? Whatever happened to that? Have any of those promises come to pass? No, all of them have turned out to be false. The planting of GMO crops overseas has led to a dramatic increase in the use of pesticides, herbicides like Roundup, the emergence of super weeds and super pests. GE crops have not produced higher yields than conventional crops, but they've resulted in widespread weed and pest resistance and widespread contamination of neighbouring farms. Now they tell us, 25 years later, that GM contamination is inevitable, that it cannot be stopped, because it's impossible to keep seeds segregated or crops segregated for any length of time, or to stop GE organisms from escaping from one paddock into another. And now they tell us, at the time they told us, there would be no problem whatsoever with keeping them segregated. GE contamination, as many have pointed out even today, it would be a disaster for organic farmers, but also conventional farmers. It would end organic status, threaten the viability of many of our premium markets, which demand GMO-free products. Yet in this fast-track bill, there is no proposal for segregating GE crops in the environment or even in the supply chain. And no legal liability of crop contamination results in the rejection of food crops in export markets, or even a serious environmental disaster. So I think one thing we need to be absolutely abundantly clear, and that is that consumers do not want genetically engineered food. there is no market for GE food. We don't want to eat potatoes with an African clawed toad gene in them, or a cauliflower mosaic virus, or, as so many of them have, an antibiotic marker gene in them. We don't want to eat potatoes that are controlled by Monsanto. And in fact, the only way that consumers can be forced to eat GE food is if it's sneaked, unlabelled, into the food chain. Because all the growers know, or all the farmers, all the politicians know, that if GE foods were labelled, no one would buy them. They would be a complete failure. So, to sum up, it poses no benefits to consumers, huge risks to farmers. It would result in the widespread GE contamination of our environment. And for what purpose? Because there are no markets for our particular, for GE foods. So thank you so much. 25 years later, look, we've staved it. It was about to all happen. Monsanto was all ready to plant GE ryegrass 25 years ago. Because of the huge protests all over New Zealand, we stopped it, and we can stop it again. Thank you so much.
I'm Deborah Murtagh. I want to ask us today why we're really here. Why are we truly here? It boils down to love. Love for our people and our planet. In this very beautiful country we're proud to call home. They call it innovation. They tell us New Zealand's policies are outdated, that we need to keep up with the world. But this government has provided no economic cost-benefit analysis to support this bill or its serious trade and market impact risks. If Luxton believes this will make us rich, what is he basing this upon? Or is that actually telling us something? What they are doing is opening the door for global biotech corporations to own and control our land, our farms, and eventually our future. This isn't about progress, it's about power. With almost 15,000 submissions and 97% opposing this bill in its current form, the government was told loud and clear, we do not consent. Yet why are they pushing it through anyway?
We got a memo!
So I ask, who are they really working for? Who's pulling the strings behind the scenes? Because it's not we, the people. This bill would end our clean, green, GMO status overnight, taking us from one of the world's most respected agricultural nations to some of the most loosest gene tech policies on earth. This bill destroys our food labelling laws. So gene-edited foods will arrive on our shelves and in our restaurants with no freedom to choose.
No to that.
This strips us from one of the most basic human rights, the right to know what we're putting into our bodies. We are told gene editing is safe and effective. Where have we heard that before? Yet in the so-called hornless cattle experiment, scientists thought they'd made a single change, but regulators later found that over 4,000 base pairs of bacterial DNA, including antibiotic resistance genes, were unintentionally inserted. This is not precision, it's gambling with nature. This is about man playing God, and the egoic arrogance of believing he can alter, manipulate, own and control what natural evolution has built over millions of years. And this history has taught us that nature always wins because man cannot outsmart evolution. And now they want to edit the code of life itself. This time the stakes are even higher. The push for gene-edited crops and animals, and even humans, is coming from the same global forces behind the World Economic Forum, the Gates Foundation, and multinational food giants that already control more than 80% of the world's seed market. They call it sustainability, but it's corporate capture of governments, of farmers, and of life itself. Once a gene is patented, whoever owns that patent owns the life form. That means a handful of corporations could own the genetic code of our food supply and charge farmers every season for the right to grow it. I could stand here today as a metabolic health expert of 30 years who studied every move of big food, big ag, and big pharma over that time. And I could tell you how ultra-processed, pesticide-ridden GMO foods are destroying human health and are driving the epidemic of metabolic disease and are contributing to mental health illness. But today, I stand here as a mother and as a grandmother out of love for this land and for our generations to come. I believe in the intelligence of the New Zealand people. We are not anti-science. We are pro-truth, pro-safety, and pro-sovereignty. New Zealand's clean green image isn't marketing, it's our identity. It's the heartbeat of our exports, our tourism, and our pride. To lose that for corporate profits would be unforgivable. So I ask you, will we let unelected global entities dictate what we grow, what we eat, and how we live? Or will we stand together as kaitiaki, as protectors of our land, our people, and our children's future? There comes a time in life where we have a sliding doors moment, and this is our time. This is our time to raise our swords from love to protect what we value most. This is that moment. So I encourage each of you to stand with us by writing to your MPs and asking them to vote against this bill. Together, let's stand in truth, in love, and in courage, and tell Parliament loud and clear, we do not consent. Thank you.
Kia ora tātou. Hello everybody, this is a common cause. Let's not forget that. We have to work together. We have to realise there's unity and diversity here. And that's my main message, I think. I've also seen over 25 years a lot of hokum from all the political parties, to be honest. They've all been a bit disingenuous, all of them. They've tried hard occasionally, but we have to push. Just like you have to push for the medical system here now, the education system, you have to push for this. You just have to. We cannot be passive. We cannot follow America, Australia, Canada, or any other stupid minority country that is allowing this to happen. We have to have sovereignty. Sovereignty. If you don't get that, you don't get anything. I'm sorry to sound stroppy, but I believe in being stroppy. I am Ngāti Arahi. I'm Irish. I compare what's going on in Ireland and this country.
We must celebrate the wins, but in parallel, just keep working hard. Make your voices count. We will be doing everything we can in the House to stop this bill. We need your voices to help us do that, but we will work out our hearts out to make it work. Kia ora.
Wouldn't it be amazing if we had an overriding law that required the government to assess every new law against the criteria of, will this law make New Zealand a better place for New Zealand people? Just imagine, instead of all their little in-house deals and their pandering to their corporate lobbyists and funders, they know the science sucks. They know it, and they're doing it anyway. At least 25 years ago, they came and asked us. They went around the country. It wasn't a great process, but at least they asked. This time, they're just sneaking it all through. What do we think about that?
So now we'll just pass you on to another one of the people that have really tirelessly put this together, which is Claire Bleakley. Claire.
Thank you so much for all coming, because you know, it is your support that has given us in G-Free New Zealand, G Honesty, the strength to carry on in this kaupapa. So thank you for all of your work, because one person on their own is what I say is we are a patchwork quilt. And each one of us is a different colour, and when we sew ourselves together, we make the most beautiful patterns. So just think of us as all slightly different, but all on the same kaupapa. So I'm here to say we need to keep New Zealand G free, and we'd like to thank the parties who have opposed this horrific bill. We need to protect GE-free farming, and we need to ask the government to put more research and development into saving our environment with things like regenerative organic principles. Thank you. We also need to protect our seeds, because once they're contaminated, we will lose our diversity, we will lose the heritage, the heirlooms, but also they're weak, and as Sue said, they are dependent upon pesticides. And most of all, we need to protect our rights to choose, our rights to ask for precautionary approaches. And this bill, I have to say, regardless of the tweaks that could be done, it will never, ever be able to pass muster. It is not safe. We have to ask the government to halt the bill, stop the bill, and throw it in the trash. Thank you. I've just heard that Winston Peters and his caucus is going to come down and talk to us.
Okay, everybody, this man needs no introduction. This is the Honourable Winston Peters.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Is this going? Yeah. Can you hear me down the back? Yes. Yeah, one of your friends said that. The guy that shouted that, one of your mates said that. And you know what the old guy at the back of the room said? I can, but I'm very happy to change seats with somebody who can't. Smart aleck. Oh, no, look, if you're talking about bullshit, you come to the wrong convention here. We're talking about a bill that could dramatically change this country, and we have said in our coalition agreement that we will not vote for it, but it's got certain conditions that are not met, and that's where we stand. Politicians are very keen to tell you what they're going to do. They're fast on the lip and very slow on the hip. In this case, we're not going to promise to build you a bridge where there is no river. We have made it very, very clear. We want to ensure that when we go forward with the greatest protections of safety, and that's where we stand now. Those of you holding up those slogans, will New Zealand first, put New Zealand first, what do you mean by that? That's all we've ever done, right? We've been fired, we've been sacked, we've had more court cases than any of you have had hot dinners. And we paid for them ourselves all the way to the Privy Council because we put our country first. Is that about it? You got our assurance? We're not going to be seeing fish going down this river with 3 eyes, or some bull walking around a paddock with an udder on it because of some change. No, we're going to ensure, as we've done all this time for a long time New Zealand politics, that any changes that are made here are made with the utmost safety and with the sense that you are confident going forward to the future that we're not experimenting with your long-term agricultural or plant life or in any other way using you as some sort of guinea pig.
Local regulation.
Sorry?
Local regulation in New Zealand.
Oh, well, hang on. I wouldn't have local regulation down at certain local government levels because they're such a mess that we'd get a very bad outcome, wouldn't we? Why don't we have a national standard that we all can be confident in? Right, 2 more questions. 2 more questions. Pardon?
You tell them, Winston. You tell
What about food labelling? Well, all food should be labelled so you know what you're eating. Right? That's the least you could expect. Next question. Sorry?
Stop the bill!
Can you stop the bill?
Stop the bill!
Kill
No, look, hang on a second. We don't go in for absolutism. What we've said is this bill's going nowhere unless we're satisfied and we're confident that it doesn't represent any danger, it represents any danger to New Zealand going forward. Is that clear enough for you? I beg your pardon? No. One more time. Have you seen what we promised in the coalition agreement? Yes. Right. Well, we're going to stick to our word. Be assured of that. But what I won't do is come down here and give you an absolute answer when if we fix the bill up, it would be safe to go ahead. You see what I mean? Oh, so you're saying the bill, are you saying the bill can't be fixed up? All right, let me tell you, if the bill can't be fixed up, it won't be going ahead. I know you're confused, but you're talking New Zealand first here, and we understand logic. One more question. Look, the national interest test and the national interest test can be distorted and perverted for anyone's cause. No, we want something far more scientifically measurable and fair than that.
Nobody wants it to get rid of it. Nobody wants it. I think
All right, okay. Well, look, stand back and watch. You wait till the thing... I know what you're saying, but how are you going so far? You know, that sort of absolute statement by a person like that, I know what you want, but you're not going to win unless you understand that this takes some grit and some courage in politics. We're going to examine this thing as we've committed to. And if it is unsafe, it will not be proceeding. Thank you.